Hey, just to give a quick little warning, for some reason my audio gets really echoey in this video, like down the line of the recording. But yeah, just letting you know.
Alright, so Sensei Kyle here. I saw Lily Orchard got into some shit on Twitter because she decided to get into she tried to give some writing advice, and they're not good.
Some bad ones.
Yeah. So
it's very not good.
Yeah. So with me here, I have Six Paths Pidu and Professor Fiction. You guys can say hello, introduce yourselves.
Hello.
Hi, I am YouTuber and I talk about anime. Please subscribe. Don't subscribe to the other guy.
Yo, no, don't subscribe to the guy that just told you not to subscribe because he's trying to get free subscribers. I am better than him at everything. Like I'm just.
How about
I'm just
subscribe to both?
Yeah. Subscribe.
Well,
to
actually,
Everyone happy.
you can only subscribe to one.
No,
so, like,
no.
Choose wisely.
Subscribe.
Know, trust me, I'll know.
Subscribe to all of us and click the bell and give me money because I need food. Anyway, oh yeah, and join my Patreon if you haven't. I have no one. Anyway, so the three of us are amateur writers, so I feel like this can be like something that like we can actually like have like a good conversation on.
Well, I wouldn't say I'm amateur. I'd say I am peak.
We all watch anime, so we are basically narrative professionals, is what Kyle is saying.
Well, I myself am a Hunter x Hunter fan, so like I'm kind of, you already know what's up, so like you can just listen to me. Anything I say is objectively facts.
Yeah. But
I watch Mathwiz, so I'm smart.
Yeah. I listen to Young Defiant, so all my opinions are like superior because he.
Oh, they're like, just you're just a superior being to everyone else. All these other losers.
But yeah, so I noticed this is like seemed to be the trend. So the three of us are gonna look at into these writing tips.
We're not gonna look. We're gonna rip them apart.
Yeah, we who knows? We've looked at some of these already. I've looked at all of them. But so we have an idea of like what we're getting into. I'm also more familiar with Lily Orchard's work, so anyway, without further ado, let's get started with tip number 1. Don't worry about spoilers. If your story is good, spoilers aren't going to make it less enjoyable. If spoilers are less enjoyable, that means you are relying on cheap shock value as a shortcut. What do you guys think?
I guess I'll go first, so you can wait, sit in the back.
Yeah, because ladies first, yeah.
Thank you, such a gentleman. Anyway, I think a story can definitely work even if it's been spoiled. There are certain like elements of a story that work better if you don't know about them in advance. We kind of like chatted about this earlier, but I watched Naruto and I really like it. I had almost the entire series spoiled to me before I even watched it, and while I still like it, almost none of the emotional beats really hit. So, I think my experience definitely would have benefited if I didn't know what happened. Same goes with Hunter. I know it's gonna get hard when he hears that. Do like the whole Meruem stuff. I knew about Adult Dawn and stuff.
Bro, you knew about Adult Dawn? Okay, you're down bad.
Yeah, I got spoiled on. Like, these things just would have been better if I experienced them in the moment.
They would have, bro. Oh my god.
Something I think it's really I was gonna say I feel like Lily Orchard has like not considered whodunit stories or stories that are like very reliant on like their twists.
Yeah.
Like with something like Knives Out, you don't really have a movie without the twist. You just don't.
like a lot of like Pluto, Monster, 20th Century Boys. You wouldn't have those mangas wouldn't be so acclaimed if they didn't have those twists. And if like they were just spoiled before like the story happened, you already knew all the twists and turns that you're gonna be taken on. Like it wouldn't have the same narrative impact that it does not knowing the twists.
Mm-hmm. All right, so let's move on to tip number 2. The middle point of the story is the best time to get a main couple together. Are you working on a 5-season show? Put your main couple together halfway through season 3. The finale is the worst time because we don't get any time to enjoy the payoff. Now, aside from this kind of being like a Korra fucking jab, as far as relationships go, it depends on whatever works best for the story. If you feel like the characters aren't at a point to have a relationship when you're halfway through the story, and you need more time to set one up, then
forcing it would just be worse than waiting till the end.
Yeah, take the time to actually set up the story rather than like rush it in the middle.
Genre also matters. So, like, if you are explicitly going for a romance-driven story, where like Kaguya-sama, Love is War, the whole story is based off of them like competing for each other's love, so that one of them will eventually ask the other out. It's not like the story of them dating; it's the story of them getting to that point.
Now, I do understand that stories, particularly from like shonen, have a lot of problem with like really shoehorning in like relationships at like the very last fucking second, which is a problem, and it's actually like something I want to talk into more in depth in my own video. But like as far as like making an organic relationship, it depends on how you, the writer, like feel like this relationship should be depicted in the story, or like whether or not it's relevant or not in the story. Anyway,
it's just completely like dependent on where you want to take your story. If you think that your character, if you think that a character's relationship with another character would fit better at the end of a story, then you shouldn't force it into the middle segment of the story because Lily Orchard told you to on Twitter.
Yeah. Tip number 3. Friends to lovers are better than enemies to lovers every time. Once again, this isn't a universal. Yeah, this isn't a universal rule. To say every time is like pretty bad. Like for example, I guess it depends on like the relationship itself.
It depends on like the character's relationship while they're enemies. It depends on the character's relationship when they become lovers. It depends. Like there's so many. It's just situational. It just seems like her own subjective opinion that she's imposing. As an objective writing tip.
Yeah, I know Lily Orchard like does take shots at like Ray and Kylo, but like within their relationship before they're a couple, Kylo you can tell is still trying to like get Ray to join his side. He doesn't really view her as an enemy, even though like he is still like they still are on opposing sides. But he doesn't see her as like a threat or someone he has to kill. So it does depend on the relationship itself. And sometimes friends to lovers can just be boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like we'll end up talking about this a little later, but two people just being friends can be good a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't have to become lovers because they're good friends.
Mm-hmm. All right. Tip number 4: victims of abuse moving away from negative impacts of their abuse, i.e., Zuko, and becoming healthier are not redemption arcs.
Well, that wasn't Zuko's arc.
Well, like
it wasn't him just becoming. It wasn't just him becoming healthier. It was him redeeming himself, which in turns entails him moving away from his abusive past. That's right. Just, the abusive past just happened to be what pushed him to be a villain, and needed redemption from that.
The point itself is alright. There's a lot of characters who just like their arc is moving past their trauma, but Zuko was like a character who actually had a redemption arc. So it's a weird choice. Like his whole the whole first season, he was the main villain.
Yeah, I would have used Killua in this example because it's like he moves away from his abusive past, and it's not a redemption arc.
Yeah, well, the point is that you can go through like an arc where you move away from the negative impacts of abuse while also going through a redemption arc. Yeah. You can do both simultaneously. These don't have to be exclusive. They're not like two different things. Anyway, point number 5, or tip number 5, refusing to kill villains who have shown to be actively trying to murder people isn't noble, it's enabling. I think Lily Orchard is like kind of presenting this in like a very black and white way, where like it's only kill them or don't. It's only kill them or forgive them. Like not every fucking story is Steven Universe. You can like take characters to like jail, or
like
redeem a villain.
For example, he just kind of removed this guy's power.
Yeah, like Avatar is a great example. Even though I think it's bullshit the way that like this is introduced within the series.
Like I'm a huge Avatar stan, and I think energy bending was kind of poor.
Yeah, the way it was introduced in the series was like stupid, but like the act of like Aang like keeping his pacifism.
Yeah, like the thematic like impact is still great and is still good.
But he's not enabling.
Like a lot of series also.
Will
redeem a villain.
Yeah.
Naruto's kind of infamous for it. But almost every villain the main character fights, he doesn't kill them. He like just redeems them.
Oh well, we're gonna get into that later because Lily Orchard has a few things to say about that too.
Yeah.
All right. Tip number 6: 2 women kissing in the last episode of a show after 4 to 5 seasons of them trying to murder each other isn't revolutionary. It's fetishized abuse and violence.
Agree, but a little extreme.
Well, no, because like
I wouldn't agree.
I think it depends. Like, is like the violence resolved? Like
if they just like they're just like they're trying to kill each other for the whole show, and then at the end they just randomly like kiss. Of course, that's weird.
Like
that wouldn't work.
Like I guess
if the conflict's resolved, then there's no reason for it to be like fetishizing.
Yeah, like people can like resolve like their conflicts. They can forgive each other. Like,
I feel like Lily just sees the world too black and white.
In a fictional world, especially in a fictional world, it's okay to forgive someone for like trying to murder you.
Yeah.
Like, I guess maybe like a more I guess fanficky version of Naruto and Sasuke, where like in the end like they became brothers. I mean, they became lovers, not brothers. Oh no!
We don't even need to like necessarily make this a romantic thing, but there are lots of cases of a hero giving a villain in the end, even if it's not explicitly romantic. Mob Psycho 100 season 2 does a really good job at this. In the last act of the final arc, Mob basically like stays with the final villain to die. Because like he understands his pain essentially, even though up until this point they've been trying to kill each other. Like they resolve their conflict. It's like he chooses to
through understanding.
Yeah. All right. Tip number 7: Twitter is not the appropriate place to reveal story details. The appropriate place is within the work itself. I wholeheartedly agree.
Not to throw a jab, but it's also not the place for writing advice.
Togashi pulling up and saying that Gon's like fifth dimensional, then I would agree.
Yeah. Fuck you. First off. Secondly, this is like kind of a jab at like Korra, or like because that's how Korra and Asami were confirmed. If we're not counting like the comic books, which go into that more.
Well, it was confirmed on Twitter before the.
That's what I was saying. It was confirmed on Twitter, which is like that's not how you give.
The comic books like went more in depth with it.
Yeah, but that's not how you tell a story. You don't tell a story through Twitter. Or like, it's like one of those things where it's like they'll go to like a lot of like they'll like people like will get interviewed. Like, hey, is this person gay? And like the creator will go like, oh sure, I guess. Like no, then that character is not gay. All right, the character should not be like depicted as gay. Then I don't like how like when the creators try to like.
More importantly, it doesn't really change the story. Like I like okay if an author's like in this scene this character was actually like Death Note's kind of a good example where a lot of the time when L a lot of the time says Light is actually 5% chance to be Kira. And then, like, the author's actually, L was suspected Light the whole time, or whatever. Like, actually kind of, like, it says something impactful about their character, rather than just, he like boys.
Yeah, like a small...
well, even then, like, I feel like that's even worse, like, to leave, like, important story details, like, up to Twitter. I don't know. I think like the best way to tell the story is within the story itself.
Yeah.
Other than that, I feel like it's just
like,
fan fiction. You know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Tip number 8: when a character's body count is over 10,000 innocent lives, then that character is no longer redeemable. What are your thoughts?
It's just like
That's just her opinion. Especially in fiction, where like a lot of these universes, like murder isn't seen as unethical. So like, why would doing something that isn't unethical 1,000 times be irredeemable in that universe?
Yeah. Pro, you want to say something?
There's just a lot of examples of characters who are like this, and like the idea isn't that they're fully redeemable, I guess, but that they're trying to be, and that's what like them doing a specific
that's what
action to
redemption
redeem
is.
them. Yeah, it's like believing that you are and trying to be.
Well,
Putting a cap at what can be or what cannot be redeemed is like putting a cap on morality, I guess. And that's just like it's very subjective. And I don't really think there can be a cap to what can or cannot be redeemed.
This also begs the question, like, what if like the character like does more good than what they've done, like harm. Like something I said earlier, like before we started recording, was with Vegeta, where like he was murdering like millions of people, but how many times like he saved like the universe like on 2 different occasions, which encompasses more than he's ever killed, like twice. He's done that twice. So yeah, like I don't know. I think this is like kind of weird. And I think P2 sums it up the best one. Like he says, like fictional morality is fictional and doesn't have to be seen as the same way.
Yeah, it's just like just because something in our universe is seen as unethical doesn't mean that in all fictional universes it should be seen as unethical. Especially as we've seen that it's not. I like to use Hunter x Hunter as an example because people can literally get licenses to kill people. So like. Obviously, in the world of Hunter x Hunter, murder isn't seen as unethical, and we have characters like Killua, Hisoka that go on murderous rampaging sprees and are rewarded by people like Gon, Chrollo, and stuff like that, and they actually get to live out their goals. And actually, we see Killua. He's not as Killua isn't really redeemed. His murderous past is literally just never touched upon, and it's just kind of like
it kind of sounds like Hunter x Hunter is bad.
Well, it's kind of
like
so like that's what I say.
In all seriousness, like in that series, you have like the whole Phantom Troop, and they're like definitely antagonists who've killed like hundreds of people, but like they're still portrayed as like human beings. They're not like they're not like Frieza. They're like actual people.
Yeah, and they have like they cry. We see Chrollo cry. We see
they have like bonds and stuff.
Yeah,
they have like genuine friendships.
Yeah, like we see Nobunaga like crying for Ubugin's death, which like triggers Gon because Gon's like a weirdo. But that's beyond the point.
Yeah, let's move on to point 9. Tip 8 does not apply to characters to whom making them villains was stupid and idiotic idea. At that point, it's just character realignment. This is literally you're just like that's just like
you're making an exception for your favorite character.
Yeah, it's stupid as fuck. Let's move on.
It's like this is bad, but like when like my favorite character kind of did this, so like but like it's good here.
Yeah,
only here though. It's everywhere else is bad.
It's really dumb. I'm sorry, Lily Orchard. That was a big L. I hate to use the C word right now, but that was kind of cringe.
It was.
Sorry, Lily Orchid. You just got wrecked.
Alright, point 10. Everything in a story is there because the creator wished it to be there. Trying to explain away bigoted story decisions using world building is a fallacy because you put it there to begin with. I agree. If you do something racist, if you put something in the story that's like really fucked up and racist, it's kind of on you.
I wouldn't really say that makes you racist.
Well, it's not that you're racist inherently, but that is on the creator. That's your fault.
Like, I guess, but I don't necessarily that's a
I wouldn't
bad.
agree
So
with
like,
the
if
point
I
at all. I wouldn't agree with that point at all because like
if I have racism in my story and I portray it as something that's bad,
Well, no, it's more something that wasn't like, I guess I'm gonna try and give Lily Orchard credit and like say this applies to things like old Disney movies, like with Peter Pan, with like how the Native Americans were portrayed.
okay.
Like that's like you put that in your fucking story. You kind of have to own up to that. How that's racist as fuck. Something.
I was more so thinking in the like light of like how in My Hero Academia there's like cults against like certain people, like certain kinds of quirks. Like, for those who haven't gotten to the manga, there's like cults that are like against mutant quirks. And, like Rikoshi doesn't ever like present that in a positive light.
Oh yeah,
He just he adds it to expand on the world more.
I don't think it's saying racism in itself, like in your story, is inherently bad. But if you do something, like as a creator, if you write something that is racist, it is on you. Like racist, as in like with like Peter Pan and shit like that. However, something I do want to bring up, I know Lily Orchard disagrees with this, but like, do you think it's okay to like view these like films as like or like stories as like product of their time? And like sometimes like things,
that's perfectly. You can't judge media of the past by today's standards because all media is made in a time where X thing would be fine.
Yeah,
You can like go ahead, Kyle.
I was gonna say there is like some room for discussion. It's where like if things were like clearly intended for like malice purposes, like if you were like something like A Birth of the Nation.
I was literally about to say A Birth of the Nation.
That was clearly made to say fuck black people. We don't like black people.
Yeah.
This wasn't like a racist like token like stereotype that was added in a film. This was literally like racist propaganda. I think like that's different, and that could still be because even like back then, well, actually that's not inherently true, but like that was still like they still did it like knowing like they were like yeah we just don't like black people. Like they did that was like that was the extent, and it is a little different than say like having like Breakfast Club, which is kind of sexist now, but like back then it was kind of fine.
Where's Breakfast Club where the kids are in detention?
Well, Breakfast Club went through a movement where it was like, yeah, like I think there's like a fucking BuzzFeed list or some shit where like it was like 5 movies that like wouldn't be allowed out now, and that was one of those movies.
You can definitely like if you are personally offended by something that was made in the past, like okay, whatever. I don't think it's necessarily fair to judge a movie based off the ethics or morals people had back then.
Yeah,
you should just judge it off the quality, I guess.
All right.
Yeah, like we should definitely judge movies based off the time they came out in.
Mm-hmm. All right, back now moving on to point 11. Don't pair adults with minors. That's pedophilia. Agreed.
Agreed.
I guess
it's like
I was gonna say like if you want to like if it's like a non-romantic pairing like with like a kid like say like a father-daughter figure, that's not pedophilia. But like
Pachi and Yachiri or something.
Yeah, but like it can be like if it's in like a romantic light, then yeah, that's kind of creepy as fuck.
Like a pedophilic antagonist, while it definitely is creepy, it's not necessarily a bad thing in a story.
Yeah.
As long as you're portraying it in a negative light, then
yeah, we agree. Point 11. Don't sexualize teenage characters. Well, yeah, mostly you probably shouldn't, unless like it really depends on the character. Like what if it, like say you're having a teenage character who is going through like an arc about like say like going through like an arc about like sexual like a revolution or whatever. Like say like you have a character who's in a conservative family, and like to rebel, this person like starts sleeping with a lot of people.
Now you want some cutie stuff.
I was gonna say to visually sexualize children usually requires the actual abuse of children, and that's wrong. But I'm talking like strictly if you were to like to draw it, or if you were just to write it out.
There's kind of like a I guess a cultural aspect to it. We kind of talked about this earlier, but there's kind of like this cultural idea in America that teenagers have sex. Whatever. If you're a virgin by the time you're 20, then by the time you're 18, you're a fucking loser.
I know you felt that.
But like, stop before you take my virginity. Anyway,
I will.
Or in Japan, where underage for them is different than underage for us, depending on where in Japan you are, at least. So I get it kind of depends. As a general rule, I would say don't sexualize children for the most part. I would say if you're making like a teen drama or whatever,
don't do it in a creepy way, right?
These two are in love.
Don't do like some weird fucking like lolicon fucking
anti-Naruto.
Yeah, anti-Narutards or I'm ending this pedophile shit. Like, don't do any of that.
Let's try and not make cuties too, please.
Yeah. Tip number 13. Don't make up weird anime excuses for sexualizing teenage characters. For example, these examples include, actually this character is 1000. This character is actually a fusion. Age of
She's
consent,
actually 10 gigaplex years old, so I'm sorry.
Age of consent is, in X country is, see Rule 10. Now, I agree with like the age, with the whole actually 1000 shit. And you guys are aware.
You're not goddamn attracted to someone's age. You're attracted to what they goddamn look like. So if they look and act like a child, you kind of suspect.
Yeah, that's fucking pedophilic. I also, the whole fusion thing, you guys are aware with like what happened in like the Steven Universe, correct?
Steven Universe, yeah.
Yeah, it was like the character's fusion would be like their age like adding, so therefore like they're actually like these two 13-year-olds who are like fused are actually like 26, which is creepy as fuck. But like the age of consent in X country, I do think you can simultaneously look at a story and like look at something within a story and be like, this is really weird. However, I understand that this is also like something like within a different culture.
Well, things from Japan or like any country with like a lower age of consent, that's their normal essentially. Like those are their laws. Like an underage for us is different from them, as I outlined earlier.
I mean, yeah. Anyway, point 16: making a metaphor for gay, trans, ace representation is always inherently inferior than just making a gay, trans, asexual character. I agree. If you want if you want diversity, if you want to point like to these like themes, it's better just to have these characters. If you don't know how to write said characters, but you want to,
I wouldn't wholeheartedly agree with that one actually, because like again, like say like if a studio is not letting you like actually portray, like,
that is true. Capitalism fucking sucks sometimes.
Yeah,
and like sometimes
blame China.
Yeah, fuck China.
Sharktail is a great example of this.
You actually can't say that on YouTube, because if you say fuck China on YouTube, you can actually get like struck down.
Okay, not like the people, like the country and their
but even
laws.
if you say like fuck China, the country.
I'll just cut that part out.
All right. Well,
like
I might
like
censor
any
this video,
China slander is just bad.
Anyway, regardless, yeah, I think making just straight up gay characters are better, but sometimes studios have to.
Yeah, like sometimes studios like force you to make metaphors instead of them actually.
It sucks, but like that's just how it is sometimes.
I think so. I think it would just like I think it would be better to not explicitly like make any comments at all about the character's sexuality rather than have like a poorly done metaphor, I guess. Again, you don't need like some weird random comment in the middle of a movie that like alludes, oh, maybe this character is into the same gender. Like, a character can just stand on their own.
Yeah. Back to originally, if you want to include themes about homosexuality, transgenderism, or what have you, anything within any representation with the LGBTQA community, it always is best to just have the real thing. And if you don't know how to write the real thing, then probably try to talk to some people who are part of like that community. Moving on to tip 15. If there are humans in your story, restricting gays, trans, and ace representation to the non-human characters makes you a huge turd. I agree. It makes it seem as if like these traits are not human. However, like having these traits be within characters who are not human is fine. Just make sure you do have like humans with these traits.
Yeah, like I was going to say that, like just like say if you have like a trans character that's like an alien, like a blue alien. That's not inherently bad unless that's like your only depiction of that.
Or if that's like the only blue alien in the like, if you have like a blue alien person who is trans or gay or whatever, but you know there's like other people who are also blue aliens and you know, whatnot. That's fine too, I think.
Yeah.
As long as like you're not like
they're not the only like unhuman thing like that. Like,
yeah.
So, like, the gay person's the only unhuman thing in the series.
All right, I'm gonna for these next points, I'm just gonna group them together because they're basically the same thing. 16 to 21 is basically just don't 22 is basically just don't stereotype minorities. Like
it's pretty a given. Like if you're gonna include minorities, they shouldn't be like the over dramatic stereotypes.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I actually went over this in my most recent video on my quickie review of Freaky. I cannot fucking stand the new gay best friend stereotype trope thing. It's becoming like the new like sassy black friend, and I hate it so fucking much. It just whenever I see like the gay character who is like a diva and is like really energetic, I just like makes me like really like angry because it's just laziness. It's just laziness. That's all.
Yeah,
really
it's just like let's include a gay person. Oh, how should we characterize this person? Oh, like James Charles. Okay, yes, that's
like
yes, good. We did diversity, guys.
It's like worse than not including that minority at all because it's just a poor representation of them.
Yeah, you're just
I guess it depends because like some people like it does like even bad representation does like lead into like I guess some people can argue that some representation is better than no representation, but it's still it's just lazy.
Is bad representation really better than no representation?
I don't know. I take that back. Never mind. Fuck that. I take that back. I take that back.
Yeah, like good representations. If you bad representation of anyone, even if
representation
it's like
isn't inherently good. That's all you can really say. Like it's not like representation isn't inherently good or bad. It's just how you represent these groups of people in your story.
But as writers, if you guys do want to start including like more like having a more diverse cast, just write more characters. That's like the best way to do it. But like if you do have like black characters who like fit like I guess like how like Lily Orchard describes the more like brutish type, you can also have like a black character who's like a nerd or like a diva or like whatever. Just having a more like I guess variability of like characters takes away the tokenism that like it might like feel like. Anyway, let's skip over to tip 23. If you force a woman to kiss her abuser, you are a huge turd.
Again, this kind of goes back to like the pedophilia thing. As long as it's still kind of creepy, but as long as you portray it in a negative light.
It kind of just depends on how it's depicted in the story.
I was gonna say like if abuse is being depicted at all, because once again, like what if like a woman or I'm gonna say abuse victim, rather than woman, Lily, is like forced to kiss like their abuser. Like what if like the victim of abuse like like forgives like the abuser, and like they come to terms with it, and then like they just like, and then they move on. It also depends on like the type of abuse. Like,
yeah, like is it emotional, physical, like sexual? Like what kind of abuse?
or like
is it?
if it's all three and like 10 times,
Yeah,
like to the 10th power, then like yeah, obviously not. But like if like again like with Kylo, because I know she hates fucking Kylo Ren and Rey. But like I think that's like an example of something like I guess a relationship, an antagonistic relationship that can be good, like can turn good. Anyway, move on to tip number 24. If you sideline every non-white character in your cast to focus on white boy with anger issues and a tendency towards hostility, getting a redemption arc, you are a huge turd.
I low-key feel like that's a shot at Bakugo. Like I'm not even gonna cap.
Well, I was gonna ask. I wonder if she thinks like anime protagonists like Naruto or Goku, because like they seem to like mostly like deal with like anger issues. I wonder if like Lily Orchard thinks like these people are. I wonder if she thinks
White
they're white.
boys.
Yeah. Don't try not to sideline characters for any character development. Just like use all the characters to their maximum potential.
Yeah, generally try to keep the characters
like if she didn't goddamn like racialize this point, I would agree. But she had to go and make it about race. So like, is it fine if I sideline all the characters if I'm doing it to develop a black character, Asian character? Like, is it only bad if I sideline a cast to develop a white boy?
Mm-hmm. All right, Pro.
Let's hope the race comparisons end here, right, boys?
Let's hope so.
Oh yes, I hope they do. Oh yeah.
And by the way, Peter is also black and Jewish, so just want to make that clear.
Yeah, some context.
Alright. Tip 25. Justifying horny armor designs or horny clothing designs with sexual agency makes you a huge turd. Characters do not have sexual agency. You made them that way as a justification.
Well, if I give a character sexual agency, like I'm birthing life into these characters, like I'm giving.
Yeah, that's like
the whole giving characters agency is so fucking stupid. Like
of course I'm not literally giving them agency because, like, again, like they do whatever I want them to do.
So, can character does Kusu Tafois from Red Hawk Mavericks, like, which is my story? Does he have to ask me to fucking breathe? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, he does, bro.
Because he has no agency.
Like just like characters, like you breathe life into them, so like they kind of like writing my story, they kind of like act on their own. Like once you get to a certain point with your characters, they sort of just write themselves.
Yeah,
you can argue that they somewhat have agency.
So fuck off.
Yes, you can give.
Shut the fuck up. Anyway, what were you gonna say, Pro?
I was gonna say, like, you kind of just like know what your characters would do. Well, like when you're first starting out, you imbue characters with traits. If you want to give your character actual agency, they're a two-dimensional being. They are not like a living human being. They're something that you imbue the trait. How that trait should be handled naturally, for the most part. But it is something that you are in control of. Lily Orchard kind of acts like characters just shouldn't be given certain traits, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, I'll write it. If you do, then write it.
Yeah, it just seems like she doesn't like a trait, so she's saying you shouldn't give a character this trait.
It kind of feels
like this trait.
It kind of feels like sex shaming. Something I will add though, that like if you are specifically sexualizing girls and not boys, it's kind of weird. Like that's weird. But if you're sexualizing all your characters, like in fucking Kill La Kill, where like every character is like wearing a fucking thong, like whenever they power up, but that's just something that they do. Like that's fine. But like,
or JoJo's,
JoJo's is another example.
JoJo's doesn't really intentionally sexualize anything. I think it kind of just happens.
Yeah, but like if you're something like
that's intentional.
Or if you're something like Seven Deadly Sins, where like all the women are like are barely wearing any clothing, some are wearing zero clothing, Like that's kind of weird.
Have you seen the manga artist that draws Seven Deadly Sins? Like he looks like an incel. Like just let him have his bag.
Alright, to tip 26. Related to the above, if your justification is to just be honest and say you like oogling sexy characters, you are a huge turd, but slightly less of a turd than above. What the fuck? Like, this is just like sex shaming. Like, fuck you for being horny. That's all it's saying.
I like drawing sexy characters. That's just what I do.
Sometimes characters sometimes sex and dressing a certain way can be important to the character. And I think Lily Orchard is like I guess in her eyes, like characters must not operate in like sex. Like I don't know. I guess that's a no topic.
Sex bad. Sex
yeah.
no.
So,
sex not for kids.
Like I understand some people, it's not some people's thing, but like sex, like it or not, is something that a lot of people do, and that is important to a lot of people.
What? They do the sex thing?
Pro, is there anything you want to add?
Not really for this. You guys kind of covered this point. Again, like this kind of similar to the whole redemption thing. It kind of seems like Lily is kind of cherry picking certain points, sort of. In this, pretty much.
All right. On to tip 27. Don't worry about not having everything planned out beforehand. No writer or creator plans everything out beforehand, and the ones who say they do are filthy liars. Writers have at best 1 to 2 story beats they've determined to include. Everything else is by the seat of their pants. This is not true. All right.
At best, adding at best is very.
Listen,
can you prove that it is logically sound, Lily?
For all my film majors, everyone who's written a fucking screenplay knows that everything needs to be planned out to a fucking T. All right.
I think a screenplay is kind of different because with a screenplay, you make the script, then you go. It's sometimes, not always. Sometimes you make changes partway into. Well, okay.
Yeah, that's what editing is for.
Write a movie 3 times, blah 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 blah. But I think this is mainly referring to ongoing series.
Yeah, but sometimes people just don't have the ability. I understand some people just don't have the ability to plan things. Like if you're a shonen mangaka, you're fucked. You can't really plan out an entire story.
Yeah, because they go weekly and they have to draw, write, and ink all in 1 week.
It depends on the story. It's just one of those things where this isn't a universal rule. It depends on I guess your work ethic. So do you having?
It just depends on how you write. Because there's some people that are more comfortable with planning everything out beforehand, and there's some people that are confident enough to write on a whim. Basically, it just depends on who you are and how you think your story will develop best.
Yeah. Is there anything you guys want to
add? Not really. I'll just say it definitely is good plan out quite a bit, but don't necessarily be scared to create new stuff when you're in the middle of it, because as someone who writes a lot himself, I've encountered a lot of problems going off of a strict script. Don't be scared to part way through.
On to tip 28. Don't try and do what Avatar did. You can't. Even the people who made Avatar can't make another show do what Avatar did. Aside from the light jab at Avatar, at Korra, I think this is trying to say try to be original, which is true. I think everyone should try to be the first them. However, I do want to say, don't be scared if your story is similar to another's.
Yeah, because all stories take inspiration from stories before.
There's an episode from South Park that YMS talked about in his Kimbo the White Lion video, where it's called Simpsons Did It First, and this entire episode, the character Butters is trying to come up with this this original idea, but every idea he comes up with, they find out that the Simpsons did it, because the Simpsons was out way before South Park was. But at the end of the day, Butters learns it's not about the exact story, it's about how you tell the story, the spin that you put in it that makes it you, that gives it a new identity.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to add, Pro?
No, I kind of agree. Like, just like you don't need to be afraid if you're like copying something. Especially new writers. I was hit by this pretty hard. With most of my stories. Like, if you take a lot from one or two particular stories, you'll eventually realize it and will distance yourself from it and create something more unique.
Yeah.
So it's not.
Hey.
It's not.
Hey, Hunter x Hunter is a ripoff of Dragon Ball. GG.
You're kind of right, man.
No, Hunter x Hunter's
You're spitting right now.
Dragon Ball's not. So like, I just kind of disproved your little notion.
Yo, I love that part in Hunter x Hunter where like a green person, who is the king of the species, took over the world and fought an
Didn't happen in Hunter x Hunter.
And fought.
Never happened in Hunter x Hunter.
Or attempted to take over the world and fought an old like wise like a user of like this like natural occurring energy source.
Nestro's not wise.
Okay, well, neither is Roshi. Well, actually, get the fuck Netero.
I really loved the part when an underling of the king killed the main character's friend, and then the main character got really mad and went after him.
Kite isn't Goen's friend.
It is what? It is absolutely his friend. What?
Kite is not Goen's friend.
All right, let's move on before let's stop fucking with.
I'm not getting into this. I'm just disagreeing.
All right,
I could go on the offensive.
Tip 29. Low stakes interpersonal conflict will always be more satisfying in the long run than high stakes saving the world. Friends is more popular than your favorite anime for a reason.
Damn, she really missed on every single word she just said. So
Yeah.
one, Friends isn't more
as
popular.
Luke Skywalker once said, every word you just said was wrong.
Yeah, so like, first off, Friends isn't more popular than Hunter x Hunter. I'm sorry. Okay, next.
No, it is. It's not more popular than One Piece, though.
Next,
Not more popular than
Let me go to
Naruto.
my Hunter x Hunter manga. Yeah, okay, right here it says world's most popular manga. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. So as I was saying, I forget actually I forget what I was saying.
Okay, so
so first off, Friends isn't better than your most popular manga, blah blah blah. And second of all, no, just you can it's not so black and white. It's not you either have small stakes or high stakes. You can have high stakes and still have very personal low stakes tied into the high stakes.
yeah,
I'll use the Chimera Ant arc for example. Like Gon's stakes in that arc were saving they're very personal, but the stakes of the arc were very high due to the fact that the world was the fate of the world, the fate of the planet was at stake.
Well, I think a better example would probably be like with Gohan, where like
no, nothing's a better example.
Better example of what you're trying to like represent with like Gohan.
No.
Gohan, like, we're trying to save the world from Cell. Where like when he's like in his head is like, oh shit, if I let Cell take over, if I let Cell destroy the world, that's like all my friends, that's my mom. Like this is like one of those things where like it can be both.
Yeah, like you can tie
let Professor Fiction talk, you fuck.
Stakes.
So like
high stakes.
In terms of popularity, I think most of us who have like been around in the anime scheme for a while, bigger stakes tends to attract a larger audience more often than not. I think like Dragon Ball, Naruto, Bleach, like these series are like some of the most popular anime series of all time, and
I would actually
they
say,
go to like,
well, it depends on the story. Like Bleach fucking dipped when it tried to get like have like more like high stakes like shows.
but like you get what I mean. Like I
Yeah.
hate to use the word normies, but they are attracted more to like these kinds of things, and I think like more slice of life or character dedicated stories than like Mob Psycho 100, Hunter x Hunter. More so, well, most people think Hunter x Hunter is better, but it's not as popular.
Besides, when did popularity decide a fucking like show? Because like
this is just a big appeal of popularity.
Yeah, like
too.
Lily Orchard like bitches like later on about like Ross and fucking and Rachel's relationship and Friends, But right now, she's appealing on how Friends is more popular, even though she doesn't
She
like
also
the most popular
also
part
just
of
complains
Friends.
about fan reactions all the time. Like,
We'll talk about that later, Pro. Don't worry.
yeah.
Okay, we're getting to that. All right, on to tip 30. Choose whether you're a comedy or a drama at the start and stick to it. Don't make a comedy and turn it into a drama later on. That just annoys people. This isn't inherently
Well, I would
true.
annoy people. First off, like, maybe it annoys you, Lily, but touching upon like multiple tones in a story isn't inherently bad. Like, you can't really just say it's inherently bad if someone touches on multiple tones and they're able to, especially if they do it well, if they're able to shift between multiple tones and you don't really feel like you're watching a whole different piece of media, then I would say that that's perfectly fine to do, because you're obviously able to do this well and able to do it smoothly and make it feel organic.
There's also like a difference between a shift and like having both. Like a lot of people kind of like Dragon Ball's shift from like wacky gag humor, like serious like tough aliens fighting each other. Like a lot of people like that. It's like very subjective. But a lot of movies and series, and this might blow your mind, but it can be funny and dramatic.
Yeah, like Pixar is like I don't know.
So,
I know she watches Disney because
lots of animated movies are just like not to like, you know, meme or anything, but the Shrek series is like, except for the third, I guess. Shrek series is good at that. Like, most animated movies, most good animated movies, are drawn with like the drama in mind first.
Yeah,
Then like we'll.
I was gonna say like Up is probably like the best example that comes to mind with like a balance between drama and comedy. Or Up is like
I disagree with that.
Zootopia is a really good example too. Zootopia is really good.
Yeah,
it's a really good example because has this very funny
go with
moment.
Shrek 2, but I see where you guys are coming from.
Well, yeah. Well, Shrek 2 is another example. I'm just saying, we're all like, she's wrong regardless. Let's move on.
Yeah.
She's wrong.
Like
she just missed. She just shot from beyond the arc and missed.
Tip 31. World building is like salt. A pinch can make it better. 10 cups of it will not. This again, it depends.
This is just
it depends
wrong.
on the story. It really fucking depends on the story.
Because if you like hard world building, then you're gonna think more world building is better. If you like soft world building, then you're gonna think less world building, but still effective world building is better. But it's all dependent on the story. Like, you can take two series that have both soft and hard world building, and the world building will be... You can say that the world building is good for both series, but you can't objectively say that the one with hard world building is worse because it has more world building. That's just...
That just don't like writing tips as like a tip to you, the writer. Acknowledge what is your weaknesses and what are your strengths. Because me personally, I don't think I'm that good at world building. So yeah, sure, I might not include too much of it when I write. But if you think if that's what you're into, and that's what you think you're good at, go at make a world, explore a world.
Yeah.
Like, look at things Hunter x Hunter does a good job of this. I haven't seen One Piece. A lot of people think One Piece's world building is great. Whatever. If it's your thing,
The Lord of the Rings is probably a good example. A better example.
Yeah, Lord of the Rings. Like Hal said, it just depends on who you are as a writer.
Now it is true that more world building can be damning to a series. An example of this is, I would say, Legend of Korra. When they try to explain more of the power system, it's shit.
Well, that was more. I would say that's world building. That's more like lore.
Well, yeah. I guess expand. I guess like explore expansion too. But then I guess I was gonna say Naruto is another example where it feels like it suffers the more it goes into world building.
Yeah, it goes to the different villages, and then it's just.
Yeah, it's just it has like a problem where like all the villages.
It's
think
there.
The same.
They're there. Yeah, they're there.
Yeah. Now, Rule 33. The protagonist should be a protagonist, not just a vessel for the antagonist to hog the story. If you're going to make a villain protagonist, just open with that. Now, there are these concepts called anti-heroes, which are, important to shows and the characters. For example, with like Naruto, I'm gonna jerk off Naruto again. Where like Sasuke, the reason he's so important within the story is because of his parallel to Naruto. That's why it's required that he hugs like the camera sometimes, because we need
the legend Meruem himself.
Yeah,
who has multiple parallels to Gon, and he obviously is he has more screen time than Gon during the Chimera Ant arc, and actually takes up I forget where I was trying to go with this, but basically
people call him the main character of the Chimera Ant arc for a reason. Like
Meruem basically took the role of protagonist during that arc, and that wouldn't just mean that Gon is a vessel or whatever. Like Gon is still an integral part to the story, but just displaying the antagonists, like fleshing them out more and actually like expanding on their like philosophical ideologies and stuff like that, and actually giving them more screen time isn't detrimental to the protagonist.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on the fucking like it really depends on like what you're trying to push as far as like themes go with your story.
Yeah.
All right.
Like, again, all of her points can really only be applied to if you're like writing a specific type of story.
All right. Rule 34: perspective shifts are a staple of storytelling. Having only one perspective isn't a stylistic choice. It's just crap. That's not true. It is important to have multiple perspectives, like within your story. I think if you're writing an epic, or like something like this grand scale like thing, like such as like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, or Avatar, it's very important to have multiple perspectives. It's very important to leave the perspective of the main character to see more of the world, to see what's going on. However, if you're doing something more like slice of life, which is something I know Lily Orchid likes, you don't really need that expansive, perspective shifts. It's okay to like just stick to one person. It really is.
I would even say, I would even go as far as, with action-based series, you still don't even need multiple perspectives. Because, with a series like Noragami, it mostly focuses on one perspective. It doesn't really go into multiple perspectives, and you still get a good grasp on, the plot and the narrative that it's trying to push. I wouldn't really say, it's just circumstantial. It's just really with what you're trying to push with the story that you're creating.
If you're going for something that's explicitly driven by one character, you don't necessarily need to go to all these different perspectives.
That would just be redundant.
This is something that kind of depends. But yeah, as a general rule, this is kind of a bad tip.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. This is again redundant, but it depends on whatever you want. All right, rule 35: if you're making a cartoon, hire writers. Don't just have your storyboarders write the story. That's not what they're there for. Artists draw, writers write. Artists cannot just take over the writers on a whim.
Storyboarders can't write storyboarders can't write your story. Well, I mean, storyboarders can't storyboard a story that doesn't exist. So how are they going to write a story for you as they're storyboarding?
Oh no, this is a jab at Steven Universe, where a lot of whenever Rebecca Sugar was there's sometimes the storyboarders would actually write some of the stories, and they would kind of do their own thing without Rebecca Sugar's oversight, which unironically resulted in better storytelling from Steven Universe, because Rebecca Sugar can't write. However, this is another thing where it's storyboarders, believe it or not, can become writers.
There's a lot of good examples of fictional works where the actual writing isn't just handled by the writers. The whole a lot of time where crew work in tandem with each other. I've worked on a lot of sets regarding film and stuff. There would be directors or actors that would add insight to a specific scene.
there's
the
nothing
God of
wrong
War
with getting
franchise is like a
insight.
good example of this. Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with getting insight from like people that you're working with, especially if those people are working like closely on the project that you're creating.
Yeah, with like I was saying with God of War, like pretty much everyone in the crew like works in tandem with the writing. One Punch Man is similar. Like the illustrator and the author are different, but the illustrator like adds to the story still. It's not exactly a bad thing, but generally, I guess I would say like a writer and a storyboarder's job are different.
Yeah.
All right. With the next one, on Rule 36, related to Rule 2, will they, won't they? Isn't a fun story. It's just addictive peddling. We need to stop pretending that Ross, Rachel was good storytelling. We need to appreciate Chandler and Monica and Joey and Rachel. First off,
I don't get how that's addiction peddling though. That's like my first question.
I feel like she just like okay, it is good to like have like a relationship and like experience like the troubles with them. I think the Before Midnight series explores both of these themes very well. Where in the first movie, it's literally like the main character, whose name I forget, trying to win this girl over, and you're constantly thinking like it's a will they, won't they. The second movie also does this when they meet up again, but like the third film is they are together. Spoilers. They have children, but it's testing the relationship. It's testing the problems. It's whether or not the conflict is whether or not this guy is still attracted to this girl who he fell in love with.
Yeah.
That's the story. But like tropes can be fun if you play with them a little bit. You know what I mean? You can't.
Yeah, like this is just like another. It's just another subjective thing. Like if you like will they, won't they, especially if you're like doing a romantic based story, and like sure.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. This is kind of like dumb. Rule 34. Rule 37. Romance trope but gay is not an absolute rule to live by. If She-Ra taught us anything, that gay Raylo was not actually an improvement. Sure, I guess. Like, doing like relationship things but making them gay doesn't make them better. Doesn't make them worse either.
Yeah, it just depends on how you use the trope, because like using a trope isn't inherently good or bad. It's just how you incorporate that trope into your story.
Yeah, that's fine.
It kind of goes back to what we were saying about like bad representation versus no representation, sort of.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. You got us there, Lily. Rule 38. Tip 38. Someone on this hell site once made the remark, "We need more lesbian non-con because purity is boring." That is dangerous. That is a violent, dangerous person. Do not listen to them.
I just think we don't need any.
Yeah.
Any more
non-consensual sex is like bad always, unless it's like the story is presenting it as like a bad thing. Then
yeah,
I
feel like she's talking more like fan fiction, because like that person's like, we need more like non-con lesbian stuff. Like that would mostly be like referring to like dojins or like
probably
dojins.
Clarify to the audience that non-con means non-consensual.
Yeah.
AKA bad.
So yeah, rape is bad. Rape is bad.
Yeah, rape. Yeah. Don't rape kids.
All right.
Life lesson.
Rule 39. Women who fetishize abuse, Ray and Kylo, Catrados, Kigos, etc., and present it as something feminist and paint detractors as misogynists or gaslighting you. Do not listen to them. I don't think Ray and Kylo was like fetishize abuse. I think like that's a mischaracterization. I can't really speak on the others because I'm not sure. But
yeah, I don't even know who.
Ray and Kylo's a very weird example because like they're almost always like depicted as like, okay, even if you want to like call Kylo an abuser in the first movie, okay, whatever. Kylo,
does he literally only like kidnap her and then
he like chains her up, and then like he's like, tell me the secret, and he's like, yeah, and then like
So just
like
basic bad guy
bitches.
stuff.
I like, if anything, I think Rey bitches Kylo way more than Kylo bitches Rey.
Yeah.
Didn't you like cut his face in half?
Yeah, she cut his.
Yeah.
Like,
And
I feel like that's a bit more abusive than being like, give me the information I want.
I don't know. This is. I mean, I think like relationships can heal. Like I don't think like they're not
Yeah,
like
like
it's
people
not
can
so.
forgive people and grow past their differences that they had in the past.
Yeah, and we're not saying like forgive rapists or whatever, but like some people can like learn, especially in a fictional world. Some people can learn to just forgive people and like make a new relationship out of that. Some relationships being romantic.
My Hero Academia is a pretty good example of this, like regarding like the whole Endeavor arc. So I wouldn't be surprised if Lily is one of those people who tried to cancel Horikoshi.
Yeah, probably.
You know, he's like an example of like an abuser who like is like genuinely trying to change himself, right?
Yeah, he's like genuinely trying to do better.
This isn't like a bad thing in a story, right?
Yeah, I don't know. Who knows? Fuck it. Let's go on to tip number 40. If abuse fetishists are giving, if abuse fetishists are giving you shit for not caving to their demands, just block them. Don't argue with them. Don't debate them. Don't treat them with good faith. Just block them and get on with your day. Firstly,
well, I'll just tell them to get in VC.
Yeah, debate me, bro. Firstly, this isn't writing advice. This is like Twitter advice.
It's just like social media navigation.
But yeah, like, you're gonna see that Lily contradicts herself a bit on a couple of these things.
Yeah, we'll get to her contradictions.
But like, bro, do you have anything like to say about this?
Not really. Like, if there's like, okay, I genuinely probably won't listen to criticism from a Nazi if they say something along the lines of "there's not enough racial discrimination in your story." Sure, but those are genuinely the type of people you want to ignore the criticism of. But as we get into, Lily has very strange opinions when it comes to accepting criticism. So, yeah.
Yeah, let's move on.
Don't listen to Nazis.
Yeah.
Why not?
Tip 41. Tip 41. Rape victims are not villains and should never be written as villains. Don't be like at Blizzard _ENT. It costs $0 not to be a misogynistic pig.
But how is that misogynistic? Boys can men. Wait, first I want to address her saying like,
this innately assumes that
all
women are the only women are the victims of rape.
How can a man not be a victim of rape? So his guts getting his young booty hole penetrated by a big black man, not rape.
Yeah, like this is shit, so like fucked. Like, especially like knowing like men who've actually like dealt with this. This is kind of like a risky statement. But anyway, let's move aside from that. Abuse victims can become abusers.
Yeah, like that's literally like we see that all the time in the real world. We see people that have had like traumatic childhood experiences playing out what happened to them in their childhood to
adulthood.
Different people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just name a possibility that you can like what if someone is abused? Like what? Yeah, someone is abused in your series or whatever, and they're driven mad because of it. Like, I also think this kind of writes out the idea of sympathetic villains, like as a whole.
Yeah, like I don't know. I guess like in fucking like in Lily Orchard's world, like where like she only consumes Disney and like the occasional like Netflix and Nickelodeon show. Where like, well, actually, no. That's giving like, because like these shows can like write like interesting villains. I don't know. She's just.
It's just. I just find it weird that
this is like one of like the dumbest fucking claims. Yeah, this is one of like
she sees like someone. Oh, this person was raped as a child, or like had something traumatic happen to them, that means they cannot ever be written as a villain, when that can actually lead to like a very interesting antagonist.
Well, she's using the term abuse very fucking loosely though, too. Like she's describing Ray and Kylo as abuse. So like
okay.
Oh no, never mind. This is rape victims. I'm sorry, not abuse victims. I'm sorry, but yeah, like regardless, like victims of abuse can grow up to become abusers.
A weird thing about this is like spoiler alert, but throughout a lot of this, Lily uses like abuse and a rape a lot. Like say you can't make someone who's raped a bad person, whatever. What about like someone who's like parents were killed in front of them? Is that like worse, or is that like a worse crime or a better crime than rape or what? Like it's very weird. Like
like she has
selective morality.
She like quantifies like morality basically. Like, she puts a number to it almost. She's like, this is this much bad, so like this person can't be a villain because they had this much bad done to them.
Yeah, all right. Let's move on. Let's try to move on. I feel like this is just a dumb fucking comment. Rule 42: if straight men really hate a certain character, but lesbians love them, there's a 90% chance that this is the best character. This is just. Should we just move on?
This is just a miss. Like she did a layup and missed. Like she fully. The hoop was right in front of her face, and she still missed.
Most of these points can be explained by whatever Lily's own opinion, whatever. This is just genuine stupidity.
Yeah, this is just Lily liking lesbian women more than she likes straight white men.
She is lesbian, but let's not try to make an attack on her. But like, regardless, this is just like dumb as fuck. Rule 43. If one of your writers believes Simon from Infinity Train was misunderstood and Grace is a villain, that writer should be fired immediately.
Well, I don't know who any of these people are, but since Lily said that, I'm gonna say that Grace. Wait, what?
Not really a writing tip.
Who'd you say shouldn't be the villain?
Grace is a villain.
Okay, then Grace isn't the villain.
Well, no, she's saying if you say Grace is a villain, that the writer should be fired. Whatever.
Okay, Grace is a villain.
Yeah, this really isn't a writing tip. It's just like, this is my opinion, so you should agree with it.
Yeah, it's like, if you disagree with my opinion, fire that person. Because my opinion is law.
Yeah. Alright, rule 44. The best solution to a love triangle is polygamy. Polyamory.
No,
polyamory, not polygamy, whatever. No,
I like what I said. I like what I said in the last recording, so I wouldn't say it.
Fuck off.
Not necessarily true, but maybe if you really want to go that route and you think you can pull it off, and sure. But
like the thing with that one is like not everyone likes sharing. Like, that's all I'm gonna say. Like, that's all I really have to say.
It's just this kind of just goes back to what I said earlier. Like people can have a relationship without it being romantic. Like people can be friends.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, and I don't. This is just like, it depends on the person. It really depends on the relationships you want to construct. If you want to construct,
and like, what if it's a Naruto Sasuke Sakura love triangle? That would the solution to that is not polygamy.
Why not?
Objectively, is not polygamy.
Why not?
Because, bro, bro. Okay, so one, Sakura just straight up is not attracted to Naruto at all.
Okay. I just needed you to say that. Okay, we can move on now.
Didn't need to get into the brothers that Naruto and Sasuke are.
Oh yeah, they're basically like brothers. Alright. Well, alright. Tip 45. If you have a male character who actually shows respect and admiration to a woman, and some of your viewers call that character a simp, there is a 90% chance that you have a good character. I agree that the term simp is like overused, but like this is like a nothing. This is like a nothing like tip. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. This is just like saying, oh, if you respect Whammon, he good. Like, what if I create a character that respects all the Whammon, respects is the most respectful to all the women in the world, but he just kills little boys.
Well, no,
Like
this
he
is
like mutilates them.
kind of saying like a nothing thing. This is like saying like, oh, like I don't think that that like tigers and lions would get along. It's like, okay.
Exactly.
What do I say? I don't know how to fucking.
I know.
That's
That's quite literally what it is. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's just
I'm going.
not much to say about this.
Yeah.
Like she just put void into the void. That's all he did.
All right. Tip 46. Mary Sue is not a real criticism. It is thinly veiled misogyny. Always disregard.
Well,
I agree.
It is
I
a real
agree.
criticism, but like it's not used the way.
Yeah.
She
It's just used wrong.
Yeah, she could have worded her
I know what she's
tip
saying though.
better.
I think because like I've actually viewed her content. She's just like when I guess when normies or like people like usually like say like, oh, this person's a Mary Sue, they're usually talking about people like Ray or Cora, and they don't really show an understanding of the character, and it usually boils down to, I don't think a woman should be doing a strong thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm mostly gonna talk about Rey because Star Wars is kind of my thing. But like sure, like if you think Rey is a Mary Sue, whatever. Like I think like maybe she's a little overpowered for or who she is, like a scavenger, whatever. These are the problem with these people make these comments is most of them don't apply the same criticism to their favorite characters.
Yeah, they
happen
don't
to be
they don't
male
extend,
characters.
They don't extend the logic to the full conclusion of their criticism.
Yeah.
Like
cough cough critical drinker, cough cough fucking Mauler, cough cough rags.
I don't know who any of them are. Y'all just
I'm a prequel stan. I like Revenge of the Sith. I like Anakin more than any of the sequel movies. Anakin is without a doubt far more of an overpowered protagonist than Rey ever was in the entire series.
Yo, but I kind of think Naruto's a Mary Sue though.
Okay, we're moving on now. Alright, Rule 47. Emotional vulnerability does not make a female character anti-feminist. Sure. I
agree with that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You spit.
Rule 48. Rule 48. Goblins are inherently anti-Semitic.
Well, nothing's inherently anything. Nothing's really inherent.
Yeah, you can take,
especially if it's like such a wide thing like goblins.
Yeah, I do agree that like typically goblins are definitely the concept of the general concept of goblins are Jewish or are anti-Semitic, like Jewish stereotypes, such as like used in like Harry Potter and like Clash of Clans. But that doesn't mean you can't like take these concepts and make them not racist.
Yeah. So it's like that just proves it's not inherently. Like you can't say something's inherently something if I can just take that concept and not make it anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
How she should have worded it is, for the most part, goblins but that's not even a how is this a writing tip? Wait.
Peter,
let's get back to how is this a writing tip? She's just saying something. She's just like, goblins are inherently anti-Semitic.
Birds can fly, okay.
Sick.
Some birds can fly. Okay, whatever. 49. If your first thought when told about a bigoted trope, such as goblins, is to try and figure out how to do it well, you are a huge turd who is missing the point. It is not that these tropes aren't done well, it's that they are done too much. What the fuck?
Sorry. Pato's a big turd.
I am, bro.
You're going to
to justify goblins. Sorry, that's all he was trying to do.
Dude,
this is really dumb. So, okay, are we supposed to like? I don't know if we're supposed to like not do tropes at all, or
ignoring the fact that she just
like
throws
take original takes on tropes.
Right.
I mean, I don't. Dude, this is just stupid as fuck. I don't really know what to say. Like, the whole point of taking tropes and doing it in like a new and original way, that takes away like the offensiveness. Like, what the fuck? Anyway, let's move on. This gave me a headache.
I know that one actually kind of did hurt my head. I don't like it's. All
right, tip number 50: writing a relationship based on a dynamic or trying to get a particular trope, i.e., enemies to lovers, into the story is a bad decision. Well, I mean, not really. You do whatever you want.
Wait, what did she say? I kind of like zoned out.
Writing a relationship based on a dynamic or trying to get a particular trope into the story is a bad decision. I mean, no, because like first of all, like tropes are like very fucking vague. Like and the trope she cites is enemies to lovers.
What if it's friends to lovers? What if I make a whole story based on friends to lovers? Is that fine then?
Yeah, like. Anyway, is this like, do we agree this is just dumb comment?
Yes. Like, it's not even a tip at this point. Half of these aren't even tips.
Okay, now we're getting into what you were waiting for. Tip 51, vitriol does not immediately render criticism invalid. If you tone police criticism, you will likely miss something important. First off, not a writing tip. Second...
Hey, I think what Lily is saying here is that those Nazis had a point.
Yeah.
But those Nazis from the last one,
unblock them, and listen to them.
Yeah, unblock the Nazis.
Yeah, there's like pedophiles who are like sending you death threats because you didn't show like the 12-year-old character in like a bikini. Yeah, listen to them.
Yeah, so like you know how I kind of just told you to block them. You kind of gotta hit them up and say, you concede to all their points, and then you'll add everything that they want to your story.
Yeah. All right, rule 52. Your fandom will fight and argue. This is how people solve conflicts. It's typically better to let people fight it out than to be complacent and beg people to just stop fighting. Not a writing tip. This is kind of this is non sequitur.
This is like for after you wrote your story and you have a fandom. Like, how about you help me get the fan base first?
This tip is like the dictionary definition of non sequitur. If it was like in bold, it was bold, 72 font, underline, italics, all caps. Like, what the fuck? This is the most irrelevant fucking thing. Tip 53. Related to the above, every headcanon is valid. Should never leave your mouth. Do you want pedophiles and fascists in your fanbase? Because that's how you get pedophiles and fascists in your fanbase. But Lily,
what did you say about headcanon? I was kind of
Lily, you just told us to unblock them. What happened?
Yeah, Lily, you told us that like every criticism is valid. But like now you're saying we should like police our fanbase, even though you said we shouldn't. We should just let them fight it out. Like, this is...
Yeah, that was literally 2 points ago.
On a slightly more serious note, to those who actually want to become writers, like we said earlier, extremists can more or less be... Like, I wouldn't take a Nazi's advice for writing,
and like
for the most part.
You can't control who reads your story. Of course, you're going to have extremes of every like political side of the aisle that enjoys your story. You can't control
not even just like political aisle. You're just gonna have like different lifestyle. Like, okay, someone who is a genuine pedophile might read my story. There's nothing I can do about that.
Yeah,
I cannot pander.
If he enjoys it, there's nothing I can.
However,
I'm not gonna be like, stop enjoying.
Try not to write content that would fuel said things such as like fascism or pedophilia. I am a firm believer is like you are responsible for your audience. If people are enjoying your work because it's a good work, cool. But if people are enjoying your work because they think it suits like their interests, maybe you should look at like what their interests are. Regardless, let's move on. Regardless, let's move on. Tip 54. Speaking out against abuse fetishes, pedophiles, and bigots in your fan base will always be better in the long run than being quiet and complacent. Might be exhausting to deal with, but it's better for everyone in the long run. Now, yet a fucking again.
I kind of zoned out because of how stupid this is right now.
This isn't
Can you please repeat that?
Either. This also isn't a writing tip.
I'm not even joking. I like zoned out because I'm tired and this is like genuinely making me feel dumber. Can you please repeat that last point?
Speaking out against abuse fetishes, pedophiles, and bigots in your fan base will always be better in the long run and being quiet or complacent. It might be exhausting to deal with at first, but it's better for everyone in the long run. But like she just is also said that like we should let your fan base fight it out.
It's just so weird. 'Cause one, this isn't a writing tip. 2, she's contradicting herself, and 3, it just hurts my head.
Lily is basically saying, do whatever you want as long as it conforms to my opinions.
Yeah,
that's literally what it is. Yeah,
as long as the people critiquing you have the same opinions as I do,
listen to them,
and it's okay.
Yeah.
If they disagree with me, then they are probably fascists. So block them.
Let's move on. 55. Fan service is a concept you should never think about. Fans who should be who need to be serviced are not actually fans. If you have fans are already having fun and don't need to be pandered to. Well, I think she's representing fan service as like something that's just like pandering to people. I feel like fan service is more so just a reward for people who've been paying attention.
But is it the good type of fan service or the bad type? Like I'm talking the titty fan service.
Titty fan service.
Bad fan
well, yeah, well, like I think we should disregard shit like titty like fan service and like
that's the best kind.
Fuck off. But like there is like something I would cite would be in the Naruto anime when Sasuke was fighting Naruto in their final battle, Sasuke uses Kirin, which is something he doesn't use in the manga. Like he only uses once. And I think like this,
yeah, that was fan service.
Yeah, this is fan service, but also it's a good kind.
The whole that's kind of like Naruto fighting Sasuke at the end. That's kind of fan service, even though like it was very.
Oh, that was kind of
did have to happen. Yeah, like it did have to happen. Like Kakashi did foreshadow and shit, but like that was like kind of fan service in a sense. That like the service the fans. But like the main purpose wasn't fan service though, obviously.
Better idea of fan service would I guess like Kishimoto like keeping Madara around, because supposedly like Madara was supposed to be like not around for as long as he was supposed to. Like
he wasn't.
He was so popular that Kishimoto was just like, oh, I guess Madara's sticking around.
All right, let's move on.
More fan service is Black Zetsu stabbing him in the heart.
That's not really fan service. That's,
no, I'm kidding.
All right, let's move on. Let's move on.
Yeah, everyone loved that. So much.
Tip 56. The tendency for shipping to dominate discourse is the biggest sign that characters and their relationships are more satisfying than anything else. People don't petition for a 4th season of Kim Possible to see what happened with Draken or to see new villains. No. Again, don't appeal to fans. Sometimes
it's just a big appeal
to
popularity.
Just like, that's just what the normies.
Yeah, sometimes fans just like to ship people.
Fans do because like that's just the easiest thing to do. Like not everyone's the high IQ Togashi stan, so they're not gonna be able to narratively analyze all the themes of a story. So like, of course, that's just what they're gonna do. They're gonna do the most like surface level fan thing, which is shipping. Yeah, like shipping characters that you stan.
Yeah, let's. I'm gonna start getting through these a little more quickly. Pro, you got anything you want to say? Like anything particular? Or?
I was just gonna say that like shippers are not representative of an entire fan base. Otherwise,
they're just the loud part of the fan base.
All right.
My Hero's a good example.
All right, tip 57. Complaints about too much negativity is shooting the messenger. If there is an abundance of negativity, that means there's things to be negative about. People cannot be positive without things to be positive about. No. Listen. Like, Pro, you want to talk about fucking Star Wars and like how like everyone bitched about The Last Jedi, and then everyone go on.
Me personally, I've had like an arc about The Last Jedi. Like, Last Jedi is something that I want to say a majority of hardcore Star Wars fans bitch about because it is actually overall pretty good. But there are certain people that take aspects of a movie and just whine about it. Whether you personally find it good or bad, just because a group of people are negative about something does not represent the entirety of the product.
Yeah.
Star Wars in general is just a good example of that, depending on whatever you think is good or not.
Mm-hmm. All right.
The prequels are bad, bro.
Yeah. All right. Tip 58. If you do something bigoted and get yelled at for it, listen to the people yelling at you. Cancel culture isn't real. The rage and vitriol will be gone in 2 weeks, and you'll be a better person for it. Getting yelled at stopped being the end of the world at age 10. Well, first off, the whole notion that cancel culture isn't real is false.
It's just false.
Yeah. And also the idea that actually, I don't even know what I'm gonna say. This is kind of like a dumb.
Well, we don't really need to touch on cancel culture because last time we went on like a 20-minute discussion about that.
Yeah, we went on a tangent.
Again, I think this is just a contradiction regarding like the whole like whether you should listen to criticism or not that we really don't need to touch on.
Yeah, well,
it's just another.
It's kind of ironic.
She keeps flip flopping if we should or shouldn't.
This is also ironic because Lily Orchard also tried to have ContraPoints canceled. Just want to point that out. And like her
cancel
first
culture doesn't exist unless I'm using it to my power.
Yeah. Tip 59. The quickest and easiest way to make yelling stop is to own up to the mistake. Don't make excuses or explain why you did the bad thing. Fix it and never repeat it. Progressives are very forgiving if you give them results. Stubbornness is what gets people canceled. No, that's not true. Firstly,
as we've seen, most of the time someone getting canceled, it's like because of tweets that happen.
Firstly, like it implies that progressives are the only ones who can engage in cancel culture, but when we've seen with people like James Gunn, that's not the case. Or Destiny is another thing, that's not the case. Also, like, I mean, as far as like a golden rule, don't be racist. Like, don't like pull like a fucking 1930s Disney. Just like, you know, be mindful of what you're writing, and it's always good to have someone look over your story in case like you may have had like things with like racial undertones or like bigoted undertones in it. That's always like a good thing to have.
Generally, like if you made a genuine mistake, then okay, yeah, sure. If you made a genuine mistake, then sure, you should apologize for it or whatever, or try to correct it. Other than that, this is another contradiction regarding listening to
fans.
criticism.
Yeah. All right, tip 60. Forced diversity is a right-wing dog whistle, not criticism. I agree. Usually when people say forced diversity, usually it's I don't want brown people. Wrong. Yeah, it's more I don't want brown people in my story.
Not even just brown, like, you know, fine, I'm that right-winger who, you know, Star Wars movie bad because female. Pretty much it's just an excuse to blame executives, I would say.
Yeah, like
I think there is such thing as forced diversity. I just think it's used wrong.
Yeah, something that like I feel like I want to bring up a little bit is like people never like really blame like I feel like people only blame forced diversity as like a flaw if something is like bad with a diverse cast, but like if like there isn't a diverse cast, no one will blame and the movie is still bad. No one will blame the fact that it had like I guess like a homogenous casting in it.
Forced diversity kind of implies that like it compromises something about the narrative. Like I kind of like repeated this like 20 times in our last recording. The character being female is not forced. It's called a casting choice. Anyone that does film pretty much knows that.
Yeah,
like it's not forced.
Forced diversity would be more like sacrifice. Like say like it's a live action, right? And like you sacrifice like one actor. Like say like you have a white actor and a black actor, and you take the black one because he's black, but he's like objectively worse for the job. That'd be like forced diversity.
Well, we can't.
I don't think that's really forced. So forced diversity, like actually,
that's quite literally what it is. Like that's compromising the quality of something for diversity.
Well, yeah, but you're not like no, but like that's usually not how people use it. Usually, people like blame the fact that the movie is diverse.
I'm just saying like what it is. Like I'm saying like what forced diversity. Yeah, but it's not like how people use it.
Yeah,
because it's basically like the Mary Sue. Like it's an actual thing, but it's just misused and misconstrued.
All right,
to sum it up. Lily Orchid is half right.
Yeah.
She's never right.
Tip
She's
60,
wrong.
Tip 61. Reclaimed slurs are not universal. Should never be included in a work.
See, now I want to say my reclaimed slur, but then Susan's gonna strike me down.
Yeah, I wonder what Lily has to say about like Boondocks. Like,
Yeah, like I really want to know.
all right, let's move
And
on.
like any rap album,
any Spike Lee fucking movie.
or like NWA. I really want to know what she thinks about NWA.
All right, 62. White people fighting against oppressors are not villains. No, I do not care if you think they went too far. Not all those who respond with violence are wrong, and not all those who preach nonviolence are right to do so.
So she's probably a Jaegerist, just like me. Damn, she's just like me. But I'm only a Jaegerist. The thing is, so like Aaron, a Jaegerist is people that's on Aaron's side. If you haven't read the Attack on Titan manga, so like I'm on Aaron's side only because he's Aaron Jaeger. Realistically, if it was any other character in Attack on Titan doing what Aaron was doing, I would not be trying to justify his actions. And he's being oppressed, and what he's doing is objectively wrong.
So
It's kind of like... Go ahead, Cal, you can go.
I was gonna say X-Men goes into this concept like very well with the the concepts of revolution versus reform and what you should do within a system of like that is oppressing people. Should you with what Magneto does, like make like a group of people and try to overthrow said system, or
that's exactly what Attack on Titan's doing. But I can't give the example because y'all are normies and you haven't read the manga.
or do you want to reform the system within? You can have oppressed people go too far. That is something that can do. We've seen this in history with the French Revolution, right? Like, or the Russian Revolution. We this is something that like people who have done, with like murdering just like innocent people for like no reason. All right, this is something like that you can like do unless like Lily Orchid is like a fucking. Actually, I'm gonna retract that. I'm not gonna get into politics. Let's move on.
I'll just say this regarding that point. This kind of just goes back to Lily Orchid having a very black and white perception of good and evil.
Yeah, it's literally what it is.
Like,
she just has like it's either good or bad, black or white,
like,
good or evil.
Pretty much. Like, she's written off the idea of she's portrayed redemption arcs in a negative light, and like there's been no like inclination that there can be someone who is, I guess, like evil for moral reasons or whatever. I don't know. It's just like there's no middle ground
she's
here.
like trying to paint like, oh, if someone has a troubled past, they can't be evil. When that's like
Right.
what usually pushes someone to be evil. Like having a troubled past is a very, very good motivation for a villain.
Yeah.
To give a villain.
This is where we get like I think Professor's Fiction said before we were recording, but this is where we get into like things like with like more sympathetic villains, and this like adds like more nuance to the villains. This is a good thing for them when you're writing.
Yeah, a really cool example of this, not necessarily I guess partially sympathetic, is Iroh from Hunter x Hunter. He is someone who's just like he was a normal human being who was tormented so much by his surroundings. He became someone who was he was just pure evil. Yeah, like in Lily Orchid's perfect little world, this is something that is completely impossible. Like,
yeah, it's not possible.
I guess according to Lily Orchid, people can't be negatively affected by trauma. You must become like a virtuous human being if you are traumatized.
This goes into like
if something bad happened to you as a child, then that means that you're gonna make sure nothing happens.
Or like
else.
every bad thing that you do is justified. Or things like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Because we got like fucking almost like just under 40 people 40 to go. Tip 63, related to the above, a good spin on the heroes who never kill mantra is to highlight how refusing to kill a villain later goes on to kill more innocent people makes the hero responsible for those deaths. There's a free story theme for you. I mean,
this
like
is a massive contradiction with like.
Wait, did you say that was a theme? Did you say that was a theme?
Yeah, like
it's more of like a narrative, like beat. That's not really a theme.
I mean,
The theme's more of like a message that you want to give.
Well, yeah, the message would be here. Like, if you let like bad people live, you're responsible for what they do next. I think, I don't know, but like this is like sure, I guess. But this goes back into. What do you have to say about this, bro?
I was just gonna say this is a genuinely good point. This is probably like the best point Lily's made up to this point. But is a contradiction with what Lily said. I think point number 2 or whatever about like refusing to kill a villain is not noble or whatever the fuck. Contradiction.
Fuck it, whatever. Rule 64. If you're writing a fantasy and you have no issues with having dragons in your world, but suddenly think people of color are unrealistic because something medieval Europe, you are a huge turd. I agree.
Yeah, that's fine.
I agree.
Well, I would just think you can have whatever race you want.
Well, no, she's saying that
it's
like
just about the justification.
Yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
All
right, we agree. 65. Sexual tension and chemistry are not the only indicators of a potential relationship, and in a relationship is the quickest thing to fade. That is not true. It depends on the couple, alright? Some couples, believe it or not, really like to fuck, alright? That's just something that's really important to like some couples.
You're probably gonna have to cut this part out, but like
No. Shut up. Shut the fuck up, alright? No, some people like being promiscuous or like having like sex with certain people is like really like interesting to some people and to some relationships depending on how you tell the story. Also, sexual tension isn't inherently easy to write unless your only idea of like sexual tension would be like the boy gets hard when he sees the boobies, and like if that's like your only example of like sexual tension, like yeah, sure, then that's easy. But other than that, like there are countless other ways to write sexual tension and like chemistry.
Yeah. Pretty much.
All right. 66. The best potential romantic partner for the character is their best friend. They're not best. Some people choose best friends differently than their romantic partners.
Yeah, like it just depends on like what you think a partner is, like what you think a romantic partner is, because some people choose their romantic partners based on like their compatible, like their actual like friendships with them. Like some people think that you should date someone if you should only date someone if you're actually genuinely friends with them. Some people take more of a different approach where it's like I remember I was talking to one of my friends about this. Like he's not actually like friends with his girlfriend. Like they aren't actually like he wouldn't consider her his friend. Whereas with me, like I would consider like my girlfriend like one of my best friends.
Yeah,
like, it's just like like the way that we view relationships are clearly different.
Yeah, it depends on how you choose to write. How your characters view relationships. That's how it really is.
I'm pretty firmly of the opinion, both in writing and in real life, that you're the two people in a relationship should like genuinely have more than just relationship. If you want to write it differently and whatever, I generally like those two people to like actually be friends or whatever. But this kind of goes back to something I said earlier in that like I don't understand why two people can't just be best friends and that's it. I don't know why.
Why does it have to be more than friends there?
Yeah, like a lot of my, like, this kind of goes back to me, but a lot of my story focuses on like these are like a genuine group of friends. They're not just like they're not just a group. Like these are like people that like genuinely hang out with each other, and they're friends, right?
Yeah. In the words of Austin Moon from Austin and Alley, I love the things you do.
Oh, that's a goated show.
I love the things you do and the way you do the things you do, but this is not a love song. Tip 67. I don't want X characters to be defined by her relationships. It's a stupid philosophy to have. Everyone is defined by their relationships. That's how human beings work. Okay.
Yeah, but human beings are not literally solely dependent on a relationship. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not fully defined by my relationship with my
I think she's using
if
the term.
I was, I'd be a loser.
I think she's using the term relationship very loosely to like to encompass all relationships. With if you want to say that, then sure. But normally when people say that,
speak about that.
Yeah,
they're talking about like they're talking about like a character like solely existing in that story to be a romantic interest to X character.
Yeah, which is always bad.
Yeah,
unless that person doesn't really have like much more value to like the plot. So
yeah, pretty much. Like, you know, probably a character should like pick up traits from those around them, like change depending on that. But
the only
their
time
character.
Like, I'll give an example of like when it's okay. Like Tenma's girlfriend from Monster, like at the start, where like she basically like gives, because like, you know how like when you're presenting a theme, you're supposed to like present like the lie first. Like, she basically the reason she's in the story is basically like to give Tenma the lie that human life isn't equal. So like that's the only real reason that she's like actually in the story. But she actually she still gives more than just her relationship with Tenma. Mm-hmm. So I'd still say like she still exists like outside of her relationship.
Yeah. I just want to say one more thing. Lola from Hunter x Hunter is a pretty good example of like someone who gains a lot from their relationships. Like, isn't solely. Lola from Hunter x Hunter.
Okay, Killua.
Is a good example of a character who like learns a lot from like their relationships, but isn't solely derived by them. Like, I guess Killua in particular is like his whole deal is like his relationship with Gon for the most part.
Yeah,
but he is his own character, and I just don't think like basing every character entirely off of their relationships is a good thing.
Yeah. All right. Number tip 68. If you don't want a character to be only remembered by a romantic subplot, don't end the story on that subplot reaching its conclusion. Give it time to sink in and become the new normal for the viewer. The memorable moment will always be the last moment. No,
that's just situational.
Yeah, or if you're with any subplot, romantic or not, include the subplot when it's most organic for the story. Don't force us.
You can't just force subplots.
Yeah, don't force a romance where it doesn't belong. Pro, do you want to add anything?
Not really.
All right.
You guys pretty much summed it up.
All right. Tip 69. LOL. Slow burn does not mean taking forever to get together. It means full series long romantic subplot. Getting together is the start of the romantic subplot, not the end. No, it depends. Like, this is completely like situational.
Oh, give Lily credit here. She does specify subplot, and I think if romance is a subplot of the story, I do think it is better to like not leave that for the end or whatever. But like if we're talking about a series that focuses on romance, you know, like pretty much any romance anime, Kaguya-sama Love is War, like I mentioned earlier, slow burn and leaving that till the end, probably a good thing, unless like you want it to be about the relationship.
Well, it depends on how how important this subplot is and how foreshadowed this relationship is. It really depends on like the setup for it. Like, if you have a lot of setup where like you kind of know they're gonna get together and you don't do like this will they won't they bullshit, it's okay to end the series with the relationship.
I'm mainly like throwing jabs at an anime, Naruto type stuff.
Yeah,
I do think Sword Art Online does it pretty good. Putting the relationship around the middle.
Yeah.
But again, like, it's subjective. You know?
Yeah, it's literally just what you enjoy in a series. Like, if I'm watching a shonen anime, I'm not watching that for the romantic subplot.
Yeah. Anyway, tip 70. Sexual awakening is not a real character arc. It absolutely is.
Yeah, totally can be. Why is it not?
I don't know.
Why is it not?
I don't know why the fuck this person said this. I don't know why. Lily Orchid, what is wrong with you? Let's move on.
That is some people's character arcs in real life.
Yeah, like this is so fucking stupid. Tip 71. The only people who think boob armor makes any sense are people who have never touched a boob.
Well, I've touched a boob, and there's many women that own boobs themselves, and can say that boob armor. They like, bro. I can actually just go to Twitter, and go to like this. You know what's her name?
We don't need to get into the specifics, but like pretty much.
Yeah, but basically, like, there's literally.
You are wrong, Lily.
Like, yeah, believe it or not,
there are women that will vouch for me and say that they wish they had boob armor while they were in the army, because that shit would crush their boobs down to like pancakes. Like,
Yeah.
do you really want your boobs to be pancakes?
yeah, like literally,
aren't
like,
that soft.
yeah, like boobs can be big. Like, some people just have big tits, alright? Anyway,
Like, ever heard of I don't know, double D's, triple D's pushing on the F's? Ever hear of those?
alright,
I think
tips.
I know this is good. This is going to drag on the video a little bit longer, and I'm sorry, but Lily, I find it kind of offensive that you don't have the diversity insights to include characters with big boobs in your story. I think you should really learn from our
You're kind
video.
of discriminating against the big chesters.
Yeah, unless, like, yeah, that's kind of fat shaming. Or, like, big boob shaming. Not that.
Come on, Lily.
Alright, tip 72. The bow and arrow are strength weapons, not dexterity weapons. Female characters who do archery should naturally be very physically strong. Longbows have a drawn weight of 80 to 150 pounds. Rangers are always stronger than warriors. Deal with it.
No. Okay, I'm actually Googling the weight of a longsword.
This is kind of a whatever point.
Yeah, this is.
It's just dumb. It's actually just dumb. I'm gonna debunk it.
She's kind of genderizing it when, like, this isn't. I guess there is sort of a stereotype of women being more inclined to the arrow and bow stuff in fantasy stuff.
I do think, like, women who are more, like, physically active, like, something I really, like, actually appreciate about Cora, Lily Orchid actually, like, also compliments, is that, like, Cora looks fucking buff, and I do think we need more buff women. I think, like we have, like, fucking shows like Brave, where, like you have, like, the main characters are, like, the woman is, she's, like, fucking rock climbing, and she's really experienced with a bow, but she's, like, really fucking thin.
Maki from Fire Force is built different.
Yeah, that's something that annoys. That's Mandalorian does it pretty good. The main girl, who is like just a Chad in the show, is like an actual fighter in real life, and she's ripped.
What about
probably beat the shit out of all three of us at the same time.
No, I'm built different.
All right,
I don't get blitzed.
Goddamn
Bisky. We got Bisky.
Yeah, this is another version.
Bisky, big buff.
Make women buff again. All right.
My mom used to be a bodybuilder. She's
tip 73. Tip 73. The best way to avoid tokenism is multiple characters. Agreed.
All right, whatever. That's fine.
All right.
No, tokenism good.
Fuck off. Tip 74.
I can't agree with her. I can't. Not in my coding.
Tip 74. The easy way. The one easy way to become more accustomed to diverse casts: limit your straight white cis characters to one of each. Those can be 3 characters with each trait, or pack it all into one character, but only one of each. Why don't you just, like, have a lot of characters? Like, I think, like, this, like, arbitrary thing where it's like we can only have, like, one white cisgendered male. Like,
I also
is stupid.
Okay, like, yeah, like, also, like, it sounds maybe a little like, I don't know the exact word. I guess narcissistic coming from a straight white male, but the overuse of, I guess, anti-straight white male stuff that Lily has been using quite a bit, it's just kind of annoying.
Yeah, I know, it's always white male.
Yeah, okay, so, like, is it okay if you have a bunch of, like, black people instead of, and then, like, one white person? Is that, like, diversity?
Yeah, like,
well, I mean, I think that the thing is, like, at the end of the day,
her idea of diversity is removing white people instead of adding.
well, at the end of the day,
diversity.
like, at the end of the day, if you want representation for certain characters, just add more characters. That's all. It's really simple. You don't need to limit a specific amount of group of people in order to have a more diverse cast. I think is the best way to say
it. Just doesn't make any sense to me. Like, why remove a group of people instead of adding
Yeah.
groups of people.
Yeah, I'm just calling out this thing because like it's been throughout the whole thing, and it's just I get like where the majority or whatever. It's just kind
No.
of annoying.
Oh,
No,
Braden's
no.
brown.
You
remember?
just think that there's a genocide on white males in America.
Shut up! Oh my
Alright.
god!
You neocon.
Alright, tip 75. Don't be afraid of failure and backlash. If someone is screaming at you about how a character you made is racist, that is literally free writing advice that someone is giving to you. Look at the bright side of life for a change. Number 1, not writing advice. Number 2, contradictory to previous points. Let's move on.
Yeah, I thought I was supposed to block them, Lily. Lily, I already blocked them. You told me to block them.
Tip 76. People of color and LGBTA are allowed to just exist. Don't feel like you have to cover bigotry just because they're in the story. In fact, people will be happier if you just have, if you don't, because having these characters defined by suffering is itself a tired trope. I agree.
I agree, but since Lily said it, I have to take.
No, I'll give Lily this 1 W. She's been.
If Lily's genuinely right about something,
Wait, so how many points?
yeah,
How many points did she miss? It's like how many? What point are we at?
I mean, this is like right now we're at 75. She's only like we've only.
Okay, so she's 1 for 74. That's crazy.
All right. Tip 70. Well, it's actually we're on 77. Tip 77. I just want readers/viewers to have fun is an excellent attitude to have when it comes to storytelling. Sure.
Agree.
All right.
Yeah.
78. As a general rule, slice of life has always been more popular than action and adventure. That doesn't.
No.
Okay, so
Even if it was,
more popular doesn't mean better.
yeah. Like even if it was, even it's not. But even if it was, that still doesn't mean it's better.
Yeah. 79. Feature creep is a problem in storytelling as well. You don't have to cram every single idea, reference, and homage you can think of into a story. You could just save ideas for another time. I agree.
Yeah.
All right.
Because I've literally done that. Like I've tried to cram into one story.
Well,
I like how
if you
brains-
can actually, I'm going to push back for a little bit because this is something I do. If you feel like you actually can cram every idea you have into one story, go for it. But if you can't, it is okay to just wait for another story. It depends on the story that you are telling.
If you want to make like a Marvel, if you want to make a universe, you want to make like something that you could spend like you can create multiple expansive stories on. You know what? Sure. For those who are like trying to make like one linear story, I would tend to say like don't do that unless you're Kyle or Chad.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Alright, tip 80. D&D alignments are terrible metrics for character design. They shouldn't be. They're meant to be a quick reference for improvisation in a tabletop RPG environment and shouldn't be taken outside that environment. Bullshit. This is a little close to home.
I know you felt that one.
Yeah,
Kyle.
this is a little close to home.
You're like I take a lot of inspiration.
D&D is a really good. D&D alignments are a really good way to like really for characterization and how you want a character to act. It's a simple way. It's just a simple blueprint for storytelling in case like you're really unsure. Use it. You don't have to use it. They're not fucking set in stone, right? No one like traditionally.
Not the 10 Commandments or anything.
Yeah. But like regardless, they're really good
like
to
it's
use.
not bad to use.
All right. Tip 81. When writing LGBTA characters, stay far away from Rocky Horror picture show as you possibly can. Some gay people hold it up as meaningful as part of our culture. It is not. It is a trans misogynistic nightmare made by an actual TERF, not a reference guide for anything. This isn't a writing tip, but like sure, I guess. From what little I know about the Rocky Horror Picture Show, she is kind of right.
What is that? What is the Rocky Horror Picture?
It's like I could be wrong, but it's basically like a Birth of a Nation, but for like gay people.
Oh, okay.
It like presents like gay people in like a very negative light.
And aren't TERFs just like feminists that don't think trans women are women?
Yeah.
It's like trans uninclusionary feminist or something.
Mm-hmm. All right, tip 82. The Q slur as a concept tactically reinforces heteronormality by casting LGBTA people as inherently strange. In no big deal representation, the word should be avoided. Normalizing LGBTA people and the Q slur are like oil and water and don't go together. I mean, it depends on like who you are. If like sometimes people reclaim slurs. I mean, Braden, you can talk about that more if you want, since you're
like it's easy. Like reclaiming slurs is just using a word that would previously be used to put you down and just using it to like either uplift you or just using it to devalue the word. Because using like I'll use what I use on an everyday basis, the N-word. Me using the N-word, it devalues the N-word. It doesn't give the N-word power. If I was all like, oh, don't say the N-word, you can't say that, that'd be giving it power, and it'd be letting this word affect it'd be letting this word affect me in a way that a word shouldn't, which I just try not to let words affect me in certain ways, but that's just me.
Now, if you are LGBTQ, which LGBTA, which Lily is a part of, then like if you do take offense to the Q word, then yeah, I guess I'll respect your decision, and I won't really say it, but some people aren't offended by it. Anyway,
yeah, like some people, like there are some gay people that like throw around queer more than I throw around the N-word.
Alright, anyway, rape is tip 83. Rape is an unforgivable crime, more so than killing. Killing can potentially be justified in a story without becoming a villain. Rape cannot. Sure, I agree.
I agree with that, but like the thing is, she kind of contradicts herself. She's like just going on about how murder. If you murder,
well, no, she's saying like you can be you can like kill someone and not be the villain. So you can be the good guy and kill the villain, and that's fine. But like rape is always irredeemable, which is like sure, I agree.
Well, then I might have to present you with Griffith. No, I'm kidding.
All right. Alright, tip 84. Sex scenes are never necessary. You want to include one because you're horny.
No. Okay, Guts and Casca, that sex scene was actually like so thematically.
Yeah, this is such like a this is blatant sex bashing.
Yeah, that's just actually a stupid point.
Yeah, like
because like Guts and Casca, like that was supposed to like that was Guts getting past what his trauma that happened in his past, and like him getting past his fear of getting touched by people, and him getting past all of the trauma that he went through. So how is that scene unnecessary? If that scene was removed from Berserk, Casca and Guts' relationship wouldn't hit home as hard, and also like the eclipse you wouldn't feel the eclipse. Like the scene of Casca getting raped by Griffith in front of Guts wouldn't feel the same if we didn't have the Guts and Casca sex scene. Yeah. So yes, it's very necessary.
Yeah, like this whole idea that like sex is like taboo. It's like I've heard people like make fun of like Lily, like saying like her idea of like a relationship is like a coffee shop like esque thing, which is like I mean like it's like what do you want? Like do you want like everything to be perfect, like no touching?
Yeah, like what is this?
Is there anything you want to add, Pro?
Again, this is kind of just like another one of those black and white things. Like, sex is never necessary. Never.
I don't really like. It's kind of slut shamey. Like it really is.
Yeah, it really is. Yeah.
Yeah, just again bad.
Tip 85. Strong characters can still cry and need support from others. Vulnerability is not a character flaw. Well, vulnerability can be a character flaw, but like strong characters can still cry. That's true.
That's actually a point for like one of my characters. Like he's a very like he's a big brother figure to like all of like the most of the main cast, and like shit happens and then like blah blah blah.
Like with Armin,
cries.
Well, like Armin,
and,
for
like
example,
that scene is like a very like powerful moment.
I was gonna say with Armin, for example, with and Attack on Titan, his vulnerability is very much a character flaw. Like, it's like he's in a world where it's like you gotta, like everyone's like, look, you gotta stop being a bitch. You really gotta like you can't be scared to do this. So you gotta like engage in this world.
And bro, let me tell you, that arc just gets so much better.
Yeah.
Like you'll love Armin's arc in season 4.
Lily Orchid, half right once again. Tip 86. Peak television is a fancy way of saying addiction-fueled misery porn.
What?
I don't
So
know.
if I say Hunter peak television,
I don't even know what to say.
I don't even know what this is like trying to address.
This is just weird.
All right.
And I don't even know how to... Okay, again, these are supposed to be writing tips.
Yeah, it's not a writing tip. All right, tip 87.
Just like
Tip
this.
Tip 87. Addiction-based storytelling relies on serialization, cliffhangers, and shocking twists. Constantly raising stakes and obsession with foreshadowing to get people to watch, not because they're enjoying themselves, but because they're stuck on tension high. No, people don't come back if like they don't want to watch.
If I don't like something, I'm not gonna be like, oh my god. There's been times like with Black Clover. There's been things I want to know about Black Clover, but like it's so bad.
People can just like Google search like these tips, right? Like we do. Like people like she understands like the internet is real. Like if I didn't want to return to like My Hero or Black Clover every week, I could just like Google it. Like, oh, what's going on?
I could just Google, oh, what happens with the elves in the Elf War.
Yeah, or I can watch like a fucking like Nux Taku video or some shit.
Yeah.
She does have a point regarding like obviously like a major part of serialized manga mostly Shonen Jump. You do need to like use certain tactics to keep readers inclined, even if it's not like a masterpiece or whatever.
Yeah.
But for most people, if something is not good, they'll just stop reading it, and that is why
I don't care about suspense. I'm left on a cliffhanger, and the story is like objectively bad. I'm not gonna go back to it just because I was left on a cliffhanger. I'm not that like she's actually. Oh my god! Like, does she think everyone's just like brainlets or something? Like, it's like, oh my god, this is so bad. But like, bro, like that cliffhanger, bro. I need to know. Like, I'm gonna waste my time reading or watching this thing just because, like, bro, that cliffhanger.
Yeah.
If this was the case, then Bleach would not have the dramatic fall that it did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, tip 88. If the sunk cost fallacy didn't exist, shows like Steven Universe and Game of Thrones would not have been canceled by season 2. Not a fucking writing tip. Let's move on. Tip 89. Hardcore fans will tell you that continuity is the most important thing. They're wrong. That's not inherently true. It is sometimes okay to retcon certain things in your story. Naruto does this a lot, and to like
it's okay to retcon, but I'd still say continuity is still very important.
Yeah, because at that point you're just like
if you make as many retcons as Naruto has, like Naruto retconned like a lot, like with the Sharingans, but it was mostly like power wise though. It wasn't really like
sometimes continuity can be important, sometimes it can't be. So it really depends on how much you do it. Ironically, this is what the grains of salt thing like would apply best with this. Pro, do you have anything you want to
add? Not really. Again, this kind of just depends on what you're going for. If you're going for if you're going just for like fun, or you're going in there to have fun, like whatever. There's a lot of stuff I just forget as a writer because I've been doing this for 4 years now. So it's just something that happens sometimes. Yeah.
All right.
As you can. I'm kind of like getting tired and I'm losing more brain cells as we continue, so I'm becoming a little more passive.
This nigga's...
Alright, we're at the final 10, boys, alright?
Let's go.
Alright,
final stretch.
Tip 90. This is too political is a complaint only made by conservatives when story acknowledges that non-white and non-straight people exist. The existence of other kinds of people is not too political. Ignore these complaints. I agree. Like something
not really, because like there's stuff that actually does get stuff that does get too political. Like I can't really think of any examples like in anime and manga because like that's usually what goes straight to my head. But like talking like I'll use the NBA for example.
Well, no, this is specifically writing. This isn't like that shit. This isn't like
exactly. Like
if you were to make, I think there's a difference between like say like Naruto and like versus like a film like They Hate You Give. where like there's a clear like political like push being like or at least the push is like more, but usually this is like kind of goes back to like the whole like forced diversity thing. People like you hear like, oh, it's too political whenever talking about things like Star Wars having having a diverse cast. Like,
wait, people actually said Star Wars got too political?
yes.
When?
Dude,
You got
every
like
anyone that grew up on the prequels.
yeah, any person who likes the prequels more than like The Last Jedi, who
Except me.
yeah, except for Pro, because Pro's like a special case.
That don't make no sense. That don't make no sense. Like the only time like I hear manga saying that it got too political is with like Attack on Titan, but it's not like it's in the sense that it got too political. Like they talked about politics too much.
Yeah,
or like
political.
I saw someone try to criticize Kingdom because like I think it was actually Solo Master. He was like he was like Kingdom is just a political manga and it gets too political, and I'm like, well, that's what war is.
There's a difference between like exploring your own politics and creating new stuff. Like Naruto kind of does that.
Like Attack on Titan
is really good at. Yeah.
Like all of those do that.
Too political. I would refer to something that is. I basically refer to something that is.
Like involves
propaganda.
Real world.
Yeah, but I feel like at the end of the day, everything has like some sort of political undertone.
Yeah, like of course, like every author is they're gonna like enforce their own like political ideologies into like a story.
Well, yeah, obviously. I just think there are certain movies that kind of do take it too far.
Yeah, like of course
we don't need to get into that. Otherwise, we'll be
let's get to point 91. I'm not. This is you guys are either gonna agree with this or like fucking like hate Lily Orchard. After this point, tip 91: The Little Mermaid and Cinderella are more feminist than Beauty and the Beast.
The Little Mermaid?
The Little Mermaid, maybe, but like Cinderella, what the fuck?
No, Cinderella. Not the Little Mermaid. No. Little Mermaid is not more feminist than Beauty and the Beast.
Well, I don't
know, because like
none of them are really feminist.
Cinderella is basically Cinderella basically got everything handed
to her plate because she married a man. Little Mermaid was like someone who is like she just wants to explore like this different world, and because she's curious.
I think Beauty and the Beast is actually like a pretty solid female representation.
Other than Stockholm syndrome, but
okay, yeah, but like she's someone who like genuinely like formed a relationship with someone, and ultimately like helped them in the end. Cinderella is
though, so that's not feminist.
Actually, it was a beast
who is a man.
All right, let's get this. All right, not what's it called? Advice.
Okay, point. Whatever. If you think that, then whatever. I think
it's not even.
One's still better than both.
It's not even
a writing tip. Not a writing.
It's not a writing tip, regardless. Tip 92.
Yeah, what?
If you want to shut the fuck up. If you want to acknowledge tip 92. If you want to acknowledge, If you want to know when to change a trans character's pronouns in the narration, do so at the moment when they realize that they who they are and admit it to themselves with as loud as chef's kiss. Okay, I guess I don't really know what to say about this.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, if you write trans characters, I guess do it that way. I don't think I'm the authority on that topic.
I've only written one trans character.
Lily, as like a trans person, might have more authority than like 3 straight white men. Well, 3 straight men, and
did you just assume my race?
No, that's why I clarified. I said 3 straight men.
Good.
Whatever.
Alright, tip 93. As long as it isn't harmful or bigoted, you don't have to justify story decisions made on the basis of self-indulgence.
I guess.
I mean,
if you write something for your own enjoyment, as long as it like doesn't explicitly offend anyone, I guess.
Yeah, I guess the term harmful can be like loosely, but like I think it can be interpreted
Yeah,
in
I gave
multiple
what
different
Roy's
ways.
going for.
Yeah, I do know what she's
Yeah, but
going
what does
for.
she mean by harmful? Like, I'm like, that's
Okay.
very, very vague.
Offensive.
Yeah, like
I'd
offensive.
imagine.
Yeah.
Like, if it's offensive, like, I don't care. If I'm writing something for myself and it offends people, I don't care. But if it's actually like inciting violence, like if I'm writing like Mein Kampf 2.0,
Yeah.
that's a bit problematic.
All right. Let's go to tip 94. This one's pretty dumb. Vampires/werewolves are not inherently LGBTA coded, and doing so is an example of othering. They work better as metaphors of autocracy and predators, respectively, other than the quote-unquote underclass. Firstly, vampires and werewolves can definitely like work as like to be coded as like for gay and trans people.
Yeah.
I didn't even know this was a thing. So
yeah, I didn't know this was a thing, but like they can be. And I don't
like
see anything
restricting
wrong with that.
restricting them to something I think is pretty bad, and it's other like also offensive. Like if you have, I don't know, this is fucking stupid.
And I hate it's just, I don't know.
Alright, tip 95. Some of the best stories ever made were written as an act of spite. Sure. Not writing advice, but like sure.
Guess I don't really have a comment. It's
what-
not writing advice though.
So Hunter x Hunter was spite?
It's
Shut up.
fuck off. Alright, tip 96. Any system of government, with the exception of fascism, can exist in a positive or a negative context. Monarchies are not always inherently evil, see Hawaii pre-annexation, and democracies are not always inherently good, see USA. Write accordingly. I mean, sure. I guess.
I guess I like how this.
So why accept?
Not to be too political.
Like I
Yeah,
wondered-
shut the fuck up. Let's not touch this. All right, I don't
I
want
was
to.
just gonna say this basically says everything about Lily's politics, but whatever.
Yeah. All right, tip
whatever,
97.
Sure, yeah.
Tip 97. Lesbians still on good terms with ex-boyfriend before coming out is a really cute friendship trope, and vice versa. I mean, didn't
I would not be friends with. Let me just say, I would not be friends with a girl that played with my emotions and was never actually like sexually attracted to me.
Well,
or
I mean,
interested in me,
I don't think that's like the case.
like romantically.
Like it's more of like, oh, like I discovered, like we broke up, and then like I discovered, like I'm actually gay, and then like.
You know what?
Which I mean, like sure.
I think this is fair.
Yeah, it's fine.
Finally, something good about Cora. So sure. Okay, whatever.
Tip 98. The only real difference between an extremely close platonic relationship and a romantic relationship is what the people involved choose to call it. Best friends are not something that should be prefixed with the word just. Okay, so at first she was right, but then she ended the sentence. But best friends are not something that should ever be prefixed with just. Because that is inherently based on however you decide to write your characters.
Like, I get this is like the 5th time I've said this, but like, people can just be really close. Okay, like, what if I have no attraction towards the male gender? I am a straight man.
But when you see me, oh my god, you just can't resist.
Stop. But like, my best friend is a man. I have no attraction to him. Does this mean like in the state of the narrative, is he my soulmate?
Yes.
People can just be. Alright, tip 99.
Well, Kilu Gone shippers would tell you yes.
Oh, fucking pedophiles.
I know.
Alright, tip 99. Normalize friends saying I love you to each other. Okay.
Why?
I mean, sure, why not? I guess. I don't care.
Why
depends on what kind of story you're going for.
I hate normalize this, normalize that. The thing is, why should we normalize people saying "I love you" to like your friends? Because like the thing is, the way I use "I love you."
Yeah, it depends on how you. It depends on how you view love.
I'd literally only use "I love you" like to my. I barely even ever say it to my girlfriend. Like if I would say it to her, it's like a very like deep moment. Like I don't just go.
It's a very like subjective thing, and
yeah,
and for her to be presenting this as like writing tips, I think is like wrong.
How's it? Yeah, how's okay? How is this one a writing tip?
I think she means in the context of a narrative, but
Even in the
I would
context
frame
of a
it more as
narrative, still.
I would frame it more as normalize, I guess, loving your friends, I guess.
Or I guess like who knows? As far as like writing, it depends on like what love means to your story, what like that word means. If your characters really value like the word "I love you," then yeah.
Yeah, they can't just
But
be
like,
throwing it around.
or if you want to say like if like the say friendships are like say like or say like oh like these two characters they consider themselves like brother and sister, and like that helps. But like it depends on the context of the story. These are like tips, but like they're presented as like ultimatums. I don't know.
Lily treats everything as an absolute.
I know. Yeah, she just sees
Now,
the world as black and white.
Finally, with the technically there's two more, but like the last one is tips are not rules. Tip 100. If you write a 100 long tweet thread of writing advice, you are a huge loser and with way too much free time on your hands. Get back to work and do something more productive with your time. Well, I guess
ironic self jab. I respect the ironic self jab.
Yeah, and instead of like doing instead of like making this type of like doing these Twitter threads, she should go back to making like not good videos where she like
just go back to roasting Cora so I can cry.
And she abuses like the copyright system. She can go back to bitching about fucking Steven Universe, even though it's been over for like 3 years. Fuck me. Oh my god, like this was like bad. This was like painful to get through.
Like my head hurts.
Lily,
I hope you know that you really, really hurt me.
I can't
do that again.
I hope she makes a video on each of us individually about why we're garbage.
Yeah, I hope
about why we're all misogynist, transphobe.
I hope she debunks my my Hunter speed scaling.
Shut up.
All right, guys.
You know what? Before we go, I'm gonna give this to Lily. You had about
5 good
points. Three solid points.
Like around like 2% from the field goal range.
I'm
sorry about that.
A lot of her points were kind of just like redundant, but like you know what, like whatever.
You shot worse than Danny Green. Come on.
All right, don't forget. I'm gonna link both Professor Fiction and Six Paths P2's YouTube channel in the description of this video. Don't forget to check them out. Don't forget to check me out on Twitter, Patreon, if you love me and you want to like get some more benefits. And you can hop in the Discord where you can talk to all three of us. As always, till next time.
Bye.